everybody, it is the Law Gnome, and welcome back to your favorite segment over here on my channel, Out of the Vault. If you are new, let me just say welcome. It is a pleasure to have you, and for all of you returning, I want to thank you for joining me once again as we officially conclude another year of discussing the magic that is Disney in regards to Pixar canon classics, and even though they are no longer part of this company, but they are the reason why they are so big now. That, of course, is Studio Ghibli. Now, would it have been interesting to have discussed the 61st animated canon classic here today to conclude 2022? Of course it would have, but based on what I am currently hearing about Strange World, and because of the fact that I have a 7-month-old now and was just unable to make it to movie theaters for many, many months, part of me is sort of glad that I am not talking about that movie right now, and we'll talk about it as soon as I have the ability to view it. But today is going to be a very interesting video because we are going to go back a little bit in time and discuss the 16th Pixar film from 2015. A movie that, to put it lightly, came with a lot of baggage, and many of us can definitely agree with that sentiment. And that, of course, is The Good Dinosaur. This movie had so many troubles until it finally came to the big screen. Everything with production, voice acting getting pushed back. Even at one point in time, it was supposed to be coming out before the previous film, which of course is the 15th film, Inside Out, but finally, in the Thanksgiving holiday season of 2015, The Good Dinosaur finally hit theaters, and not that many people had good things to say about it. They said that it was boring. They say that it was something that had been done before. It was just something that felt very un-Pixar, and people wondered why did they even try to make a movie like The Good Dinosaur. Well, interestingly enough, I actually watched and reviewed The Good Dinosaur for you guys before I actually started adding Pixar films to Out of the Vault. So let's take a look at what I actually thought about that movie and what rating I gave it. I'm giving The Good Dinosaur 3.5 out of 4. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much, and you do get all the feels from it. Well, one of the few things I know I'm definitely not gonna be is over-geekishly fanboyish, going berserk over a movie like The Good Dinosaur, but do I think that I am going to change my attitude about this movie? Believe it or not, I don't think so. Every single time I sit down and watch The Good Dinosaur, and yes, I have watched this movie multiple times ever since I purchased it on DVD, I feel that every single time I watch it, I find a little bit of something that I truly appreciate and love when everybody else just chooses to neglect it. I actually feel that compared to Inside Out, I like this movie better than I do Inside Out at this point in time, and that to me personally says a lot. I mean, I don't really understand what's not to like about this film. Here's a very interesting idea. The meteor that killed the dinosaurs passed planet Earth, and the dinosaur population evolved into farmers, scavengers, cattle drivers, and humans are there but still developing in an evolutionary manner, and yet there seems to be a bond that is formed in this specific story between a dinosaur named Arlo, who has a fear of everything, and a fearless young human boy named Spot, who is orphaned. And the two of them find a situation where they actually have to be friends, not enemies, and through this, Spot and Arlo learn from one another. And more importantly, the big question is, will Arlo finally learn to conquer his fears? He's been through a lot. Arlo has lost his father. He's far from home. He has always been upstaged by his siblings because he just can't seem to overcome any of his fears. And even though his parents never stepped in, they still believe that he had what it takes to, and for the overall goal of making his mark. Arlo is a very interesting character. He represents so many people that we know. I know so many people that have fears, and yet even though they know they should try and conquer them, it is so hard for them to do so, and sometimes the only way to conquer said fear is to be put in a situation where you have no choice. The animation, I did say, was absolutely spectacular. The production that went into making these beautiful landscapes is absolutely stunning. It really adds to the atmosphere, the beauty of nature. I think it's absolutely wonderful. The score from Jeff Dana is wonderful. The acting in this film, for me personally, even though there's not that much dialogue, it's really a movie that is built around the scenery and the silence and the body language and the emotions. It's really good. I mean, you have good actors like Jeffrey Wright, Frances McDormand, and one of my personal favorites, Sam Elliott, Anna Paquin, Steve Zahn. I mean, anything with Sam Elliott to me is gold, and the fact that he plays this T-Rex named Butch, who is the father of two T-Rexes and they're all cattle ranchers, is just really funny to see a great creative idea take shape in what dinosaurs could possibly have become. And that's the part about this movie that really resonates with me. This is not a story that's been done before. I mean, there have been many films that have featured dinosaurs. There have been many times where Disney has tried to do so and failed miserably, and to a certain degree, had a degree of failure with The Good Dinosaur due to its box office performance and based on how so many people still perceive this film. But it was an innovative, outside-of-the-box, very un-Pixar-like film, and I think that's the reason why it still strikes a chord with me. I just feel that because it is so different, it's just a treasure to me. That's really what it is. I think it's gorgeous to look at, gorgeous to listen to. I think that the morals and the messages that are sent throughout this film are very meaningful and important, and even though they have been done numerous times before, it's just done in a different way through this film. I personally think that Arlo and Spot are hilarious, adorable characters. I mean, once again, very relatable as well, even though it's a cave boy that walks around like a dog and a dinosaur that talks. There are some really funny points, but I also appreciate the fact that this movie is more of a dramatic film than it is a comedy. And the comedy is thrown in there in very good taste. Like, it's not laughed out loud funny, but it's got these moments where you smile. It's very heartwarming. It's very inviting. I mean, this movie is almost 10 years old. It's crazy to believe that, but I'm never going to understand why so many people do not like this movie. I personally do, and after watching it again for like the fourth or fifth time at this point, I feel that there's still so much more to love rather than to despise. This movie has, for me, very Ratatouille-like feels, because it grows with me every single time I watch it. And I also feel that it ages well. It definitely ages better than Dinosaur. Maybe not necessarily a movie like The Land Before Time, but I like it. And that's all I'm going to say. It's a good movie, at least to me. And if you disagree, I would love to talk to you about it, because I hope we can come to some kind of an agreement, and maybe from this video, you'll sit down and you'll watch this movie and you'll try and get where I'm coming from here. But I am going to stick with what I originally gave The Good Dinosaur, and that was a rating of 3.5 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss The Good Dinosaur. And I thank you once again for another great year of Out of the Vault, and I'm looking forward to next year. I'll see you then. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.